My microphone, you can hear me now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Shane Gucher. With me is the always kind and lovely and
I don't know where these rumors
passionate
started, but
and
keep them coming.
handsome and just, just not enough positive adjectives can describe the great man that is known as Chef. Little fact here. I've always wanted to do this when we cast it together.
Okay.
So my real name is Seth. Contrary to popular belief, my IRL name is not Shane. It's Seth. Well, Seth plus Shane is Sheth.
Are you perhaps insinuating I stole this from you? Is that the thought?
Yeah, man. Just no, that's not what I'm saying. If anything, maybe I subconsciously took it from you, because
Do you
had
think your
Sheth.
parents
Sheth
named
was
you
around
after me?
before.
Like,
Sheth was
was
around
that
before
it?
Shane Gucher. I'm pretty sure.
All right. So
How
you're
long have you
like,
had that tag?
5 years or so?
Yeah. I've only had Shane Gucher for like 2 years. So if
Okay.
anything, I stole it from you.
I actually, by taking the name Sheth, learned that it's a fairly common Indian name.
Really?
There's a guy who has like a Nobel Peace Prize or something with the name Sheth. And, after me playing video games, now he's very hard to Google, which is funny. That, of course, video game popularity trumps Nobel Peace Prize winner. Obviously.
Right on, man. So we're waiting for these teams. The map is going to be on Dragonshire. We are just going to wait for the draft to get into play here. Sheth, this is a team we're very familiar with. We're going to have Cloud9 Vortex versus Shot and the Bullets. For those of you that missed, Shot and the Bullets is a kind of conglomeration of Heroes Hype Arcane plus a couple other different people, but it has names you might be familiar with, names like Pythix, Base Drop, Barcode, stuff like that. Names that I'm familiar with if you've watched a lot of North American, I almost said North American Dota, North American Heroes of the Storm, you probably have seen them before. So, I mean, what do you think is going to be Vortex's game plan right here? Any pocket strategies, or just same old tried and true, standard play and just win through good mechanics?
Well, let's be honest. If I knew their pocket strategy, I wouldn't be able to reveal it now.
Dang it, man! I was
Just in
hoping it was
case,
gonna work.
right? Couldn't reveal it because loyalty. But if I have to guess, I think both teams are going to play relatively standard. And by that, I mean kind of similar to the teams we had last time, maybe a little bit more cohesive. Wouldn't be surprised to see one team try and stack Uther and Tyrande
Okay.
together, kind of with a damage dealer, a tank, and a healer. Doesn't really matter what damage dealer, tank, and healer, as long as you get Uther Tyrande.
Yeah.
And the other team will probably try and take Tassadar plus other stuff, if that's the scenario. I don't really know for sure, just kind of obviously guessing based on what I think the best meta is. I kind of think that is the best meta at the moment.
Okay.
Or it's what I would do is try and get one of those styles.
There we go. So you get there is the draft. You get that, Sean?
Oh, six,
Right there in
yes.
chat.
Yes, I did.
Excellent. Let me load that up here, guys, and we'll get into the draft. The map, once again, is going to be Darganshire, one of the more frequent maps that we see. Let's get that all loaded up there. There we go. Cloud9 Vortex, Shot, and the Bullets. Apply changes. Just waiting for them to ready up here. So I talked a little bit to Shot before the game, and I asked him, what type of style do you guys have? Is there any specific style, anything like that? And he's from what I gathered and what he told me, it says they really put a lot of priority into Hammer, Illidan, and Azebo, more so than Vala. They said he'll pick up a Hammer, Illidan, or Azebo before they pick up a Vala, and actually a Zagara as well. Another thing is that
Wait. Hammer or Illidan before Vala?
that is what he told me.
All right.
I have the quote right there in front of me. Right there.
I believe you.
And another thing is he said to expect some Brightwing play. He said they've been playing around with a lot of Brightwing. They actually like Brightwing over Malfurion. It enables them to save their early picks for strong damage and frontline over healing supports. At least that's kind of what I've seen from them. The Heroes Hype Arcane is they would pick up their first picks were more about damage and their healing and frontline over healing supports. They're okay with getting a Malfurion. They're okay with getting a Brightwing. They don't put as much emphasis onto an Uther and a Rhaegar. We're obviously going to see once this draft gets underway if it turns out that all my studying into their drafts is worth the time or not. But it looks like Cloud9 Vortex is ready. Just going to wait for Shots to ready up here.
It's not a bad idea by any means to try and prepare with Brightwing or prepare with Hammer, and just playing the heroes you've studied, practiced, and if you have a person who's just very good with a specific hero, learning to kind of build your comp around it or how to counter the meta with that specific hero. Those are all great ideas. I mean, I only I only say, all right, Malph's better just because in general that's my opinion, or in general that's what
Right.
I would play from my champion pool or the teams that I've been part of. But every team is different. They all have different goals, which is what makes this game really beautiful. To me, it's just that everyone can be different, can play a different comp, and everyone's like, wow, it's amazing. So you can kind of see by Tempo Storm always picking something different and always winning, just because they're very good, very smart people.
Another interesting thing that Shot said is he said they don't put much emphasis on Tassadar. They don't think he is as much of a priority as a lot of other teams. And I have to ask, I mean, obviously you and myself, the question that came to mind when he said that was, well, if you don't put much priority on Tassadar, then by default, you shouldn't put much priority into an Illidan as well. But then he said that they do like picking Illidan. So there's definitely some contrasting kind of things going on there. Maybe they're okay with picking Illidan and less emphasis on Tassadar. If they get the Illidan and the Tassadar happens to be there, they'll pick them up. So it'll be interesting. We're in the draft right now, guys. So it's all loaded up, waiting for the first ban from Cloud9 Vortex.
Yeah,
I think
if you if you remember last game where the one team picked Ill and the other team picked Tassadar to kind of counter it, and
Yeah.
then by the end of the draft they just didn't really have a tremendously like synergistic team where the task really didn't do anything. So just taking Illidan can just force your enemy to draft like that. Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to
Oh,
bring
it's
it
all
up.
good, man. Okay, so Cloud9 Vortex banning out the Illidones, or the Illidon't.
All that talk, didn't they know?
I know, man. Come on. 2-minute delay, bro. The
Oh, man.
Illidon't is going to be the case this time around. And so the Cloud9 Vortex don't want anything to do with that. So let's say Vala isn't banned out here by Shot in the Bullets. Do you think that's what's going to be picked up first pick for Cloud9?
So you said if Ball isn't banned?
Correct. If
I
Nazeebo
think
is
they'll
banned,
first
if
pick Uther.
Nazeebo is banned, will Vala get picked up?
Nazeebo's banned, I think they'll first pick Uther.
Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't be that surprising to see a first pick for Vala, but I also don't think Nazeebo will be banned here.
What do you think if we're banned here? Do you think Uther would be a
Uther,
smart ban?
Tass.
Yeah.
I don't know if necessarily they're smart. I haven't fully figured out this, meta for drafting and banning. I don't think anyone really has yet.
Right.
Everyone takes different stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's
Okay.
a Stitches one.
Once again, that's the third time we've seen Stitches banned out today. And you mentioned it earlier how you ban out Stitches when you feel like you're the superior team. And
I do.
yeah, that's your
Oh,
obviously
hello.
your opinion. Your word definitely carries a little bit more weight than mine. You're the experienced professional Heroes of the Storm player. And Cloud9 Vortex, look at that. A first pick Sergeant Hammer. So they're putting more emphasis on the Bama than they are on the Nazeebo Witch Doctor. Now Shot in the Bullets. They have an opportunity to pick up. I was just about to say ETC. Nazeebo is an option as well. But no, look at that. Double Warrior right off the get-go. What do you think about this?
Well, they banned a warrior, took both warriors.
Yeah.
So that was kind of their plan. Vortex on the flip side banned the kind of anti-hammer, took hammer. So if it's up to me, they're either going to take 2 supports here or they're going to take 2 damage. Just denying the meta of one of those things. At this point, I would probably love to see them take Volatas. All right, so there's the Vala and Rhaegar. So they just take one of the top-end healers. It doesn't have to be Tassadar, especially because, like you said, maybe the other team doesn't, prioritize Tass, and Tass isn't that amazing against Hammer as well.
Well, they're picking up the Rhaegar Ancestral Healing. And I feel like the Rhaegar pickup over the Uther is that maybe they feel like with, these double warrior compositions that if they can just kind of wear them out and they aren't able to burst down anyone through Ancestral Healing, that they can just kind of, turn around on them and turn on the warriors. I feel like maybe that actually applies a little bit more to double healer than necessarily double warrior. And look at that. Now Nazeebo being picked up and a Tassadar. So, yeah, I mean, 4th pick Tassadar, as I mentioned, they don't put a lot of emphasis on him, but they will pick him up if he's available to them, and that's exactly what they did here.
Yeah, I like Shot in the Bullets team here a little bit more than Vortex's. It just feels more aggressive to me.
Yeah.
Having a Diablo that can flip, and then you have a Nazeebo. I actually don't know if I like the Tassadar in this scenario. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but wouldn't have minded to see something like a Jaina, Zagara, Tyrande was what I've been advocating, and then try and do Tyrande Uther as the last 2 picks. But whatever, not a big deal. This is just another style. It's very good. Prevents stuff like Zeratul.
Okay,
But
look at
that's
that.
Tyrande.
They picked up the Muradin, which I think is, the next best warrior to go with. I wasn't expecting a Tyrael or anything like that. I think Muradin was definitely the go-to one right there. And I wonder if we're going to see a Brightwing, because as I mentioned, they said they've been messing around a lot with the Brightwing. They have the ETC in their hands. Obviously, there's a lot of synergy between Brightwing and ETC, especially on this map, since having kind of that global presence they can get. They can, pressure the map, pressure the shrines once we hit those mid and late game Dragonites, and that's something Cloud9 Vortex is going to have to be very conscious about to make sure that they don't get outmaneuvered if Brightwing is the choice here. The Uther is still on the table. I mean, Uther would absolutely be a phenomenal pick here, but I won't be surprised if we see the Brightwing, just because Shot told me they've been playing with Brightwing, they're very comfortable with Brightwing, they have the ETC, the map is Dragonshire, so we're going to see what they pick up here. Looking at Cloud9 Vortex overall draft, though, I mean, you feeling good with that Murden right now, or do you think maybe it should have been another warrior?
Malph's the way to go healer-wise, and Murden's fine. I mean, it's the best healer that's left.
Okay.
I mean, you could try and do something weird like Sonya,
not
but
against that comp. Good lord.
yeah, she would get mauled a little bit.
Yeah, they're definitely taking their time with this. Thinking it through. You're saying Malph is the easy default pickup here. I definitely.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I definitely intend to agree with you there. I feel like that it's going to give them, especially with a double warrior frontline. ETC obviously is a very self-sufficient warrior. He can heal, he can sweep in and out. And there it is. There's a Malfurion pickup. So no Brightwing this time around, no global presence shenanigans coming out from him. Just strong, consistent foundation. They got that nice AoE sustain. They have themselves 2 healing wards. So they have 2 healing wards, Tranquility, Life Seed
That's
level
the main
16.
reason.
And yeah, a lot of sustain coming out from Shot of the Bullets, especially when you consider they have 2 frontline warriors. So you think the name of the game right now for Shot in the Bullets is kind of a battle of attrition, maybe trying to elongate these team fights and make Cloud9 Vortex run out of gas?
Shot in the Bullets pretty much has to flip someone with Diablo and try and get a root on him. Try and do enough damage, knock him off. Just get someone to kind of out alone and just destroy them. And on the side, Vortex just needs to not let that happen.
Okay.
And just try and harass with Vala and throw on the owls and stuff. Neither team necessarily has an advantage. They both have 2 healing wards, 2 semi-healers. Definitely Vortex has the better range damage, but it's not like a tremendous advantage. It's actually very similar, where Tass has a lot of poke, Zebo has a lot of poke.
Yeah.
Well, it's the best poke in the game. Hammer is not good poke, so it kind of evens out a little.
Remember the old school Hammer Man where she would get siege mode at like level 6? Or I'm sorry, level 6. Jeez, no one got anything.
Hover
level
Siege.
6. Hover Siege, yeah. Or actually, yeah. Siege mode was level 7. Hover Siege. It was at 4 or 7, and then she would get the extended range, and you'd get Haunted Mines, and you would just lose. Oh, the good old days. The good old days, indeed. The map is loading up here, ladies and gentlemen, though. Those days are long over. Abathur, Raynor, Hyperion coming into play. That was horrendously overpowered. Kerrigan soloing people 1v5. Those are no longer with us. Let me change up the names of the team here. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I had it all situated. Apparently I don't. But the map is going to be Dragonshire. This is game 1 of the best of 3 between not KFC versus APM. I'm going to fix that right now, ladies and gentlemen. Between Cloud9 Vortex and Shots and the Bullets. I'm just going to put the word bullet up there because I think that's a pretty strong word to put up there. Let me see here. Cloud9 Vortex is on the left. C9V. Hashtag MLG production value. Right there. Speaking of MLG, what do you think of that Titan, the Titan Arena tournament, man? It was there were some great games in there. I mean, a very big prize pool. Cloud9 Maelstrom taking out Tempo Storm in the best of 3. I think it was a great time watching it. What do you think about casting it?
Well, as I said while casting it, I think those games were the best games I'll see for a while. Like, not to take anything away from casting this. Who knows? This game could be the best game, but that best of 5 series was the best one I'd at least seen up until that point, or I think so. I don't know. I love watching both those teams fight, and that was an especially great series. So, well, best finals ever for me.
We are in the game right now. I don't know if we're going to be able to live up to that hype. Hopefully, maybe one day, Chef. On the left side of your map is Cloud9 Vortex, Bobby, Hank Hill, playing the Vala Demon Hunter, Zix on the Rhaegar. I know Zix loves being called Zizix, so make sure you call him Zizix a whole bunch, Sean. Fan playing Sergeant Hammer, Taza playing Murden, Syracuse on the Tyron, and by the time we can even introduce the other team, Zix is already getting knocked out of position. So great positional play coming out from Shots and the Bullets already. Speaking of Shot, he's got to be careful. He's going to get that last dunk off, but unfortunately, goaltending is not going to be a penalty. He's going to get taken down. And now AKA Face, also known as Face, is going to lay down a defensive Malfurion Roots and get himself out of there cleanly. A 1-for-1 exchange. Looks like both teams going in there early, just kind of trading blows and going, all right, we each got a kill. Let's go ahead and get in lanes and get this game going.
Yeah, fun fact about Maelstrom, which is more why I liked it, was Maelstrom is the conglomerate of both my old teams. So everyone there is a teammate of mine, which is cool. this game we also have some teammates here with Bobby Hank Hill. Fan was kind of a teammate, and Pithix as well. So nice to see them doing well in the competitive scene, and this game is going to be great. It's great so far.
So obviously we have a 3v3 laning situation right here. I mean, Malfurion, Diablo, Witch Doctor, I feel like that's got a lot of good synergy. They definitely can push pretty well. But you have a Tyron, Sergeant Hammer, backed up with a Rhaegar. It seems like that's, I mean, what do you think? Who has the advantage right now in this tri-lane versus tri-lane situation?
Quite obviously C9V. You kind of need to switch, switch the Tassadar from one of the other four. That would be my opinion here.
That's exactly what we're going to do. Bobby Hank Hill coming down here, sweeping in like a broom, trying to clean it up. He's going to get the kill onto Malfurion, going to retreat, laying down a healing ward, keeping everyone nice and healthy. Don't use those fountains too early on. And that is definitely an advantage, a small advantage, but an advantage nonetheless going the way of Cloud9 Vortex. We're going to get level 4 just slightly ahead of Shot and the Bullets. Let's take a look at the other lanes here. As you mentioned, yeah, actually, Fan actually rotated atop. Pithix on the Tassadar is still remaining in mid lane. Obviously, Tassadar is a very, very great solo lane situation. But while I have the chance to talk about it, something I do want to talk about is this top 1v1 matchup, Murden versus ETC. You know, is that kind of a wash, or do you feel like one player has an advantage over the other?
I mean, ETC has the advantage, without a doubt, especially with the nerf on Murden's health regen, fixing the bug, etc. ETC is just a lane bully against pretty much everyone, so it's a slight advantage to best draw or base draw.
So that's one thing you got to consider, guys, when you're doing Hero League and maybe trying to draft, and maybe some amateur or some aspiring amateur players. You always have to have a strong tri-lane in the bottom lane, but don't forget your solo lane situation is very important as well in these scenarios. ETC is a very good solo laner. Tassadar is one of the best solo laners in the match. In the game, or rather. He's very hard to kill. He has good wave clear. He's able to mitigate pushes with his protective shield. And ETC is a phenomenal solo laner, as you just mentioned there. And yeah, he's just bossing around this Murden. And you can tell that the success or the advantage that they have is translating that they have domination over this top shrine. Bottom shrine though is on the other side of the coin, and definitely going the way of Cloud9 Vortex, as you mentioned. That is a hellish lane to be going up against there.
Yeah, it's not that scary. If Zizix was Uther, for instance, maybe a little bit scarier. Stun into a stun into, Vala and Hammer, but it is definitely a scary lane. One stun from Tyrande, Mark, that person could be dead if they were out of position.
I think I just hate Sergeant Hammer. I think that's all it is. I just hate Sergeant. Every time I see a Sergeant Hammer in lane, I'm like, son of a... That's okay, though.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm having flashbacks to my, level 30 Hero League games where everyone knows what they're doing and everyone is great and positive. Though, right now, the experience is definitely going the way of Cloud9 Vortex. They're already getting themselves a substantial experience lead. I mean, I feel like that might be attributed to this top lane. I mean, Taza hasn't been bossed out. His Fountain is on cooldown in 60 seconds, so it has been used recently. The experience is just obviously way in the advantage of Cloud9 Vortex. Down to the bottom lane, though. Shot is going to get caught out of position. He did dunk Fan into the towers. He's just sitting there. I don't care. He might be going down. No. Protective Shield is going to keep him alive. Well done right there. And plus the double healing ward showing its strength. That bottom tower is very susceptible to get taken down here. It's out of ammo, at about 1/3 HP. And just a lot of static lanes, man. It seems like with the new patch, with Arthas and Kerrigan being nerfed, that there's not, that early game aggression that we were so used to seeing in the North American meta has pretty much just, it just isn't there anymore. I feel like the drafts are not about early game aggression anymore. It's about strong early game lane presence, a strong early game pushing to get yourself towers and objectives.
Yeah, both of these teams are be playing a little bit passive. Vortex has obviously been aggressive a couple times, got a few kills off of it. So that's been nice. You kind of think the ETC would be the one to be aggressive, but Diablo kind of aggresses, and then the rest of the team's like, alright, we got 2 healers, 2 healing wards, we're just going to heal that person and you're marked now, so it's certainly been a bit scary so far for Shot and the Bullets.
So level 7 has been here for a little while. The Hunter's Mark, not the Hunter's Mark, the True Shot Aura coming out. That's obviously going to synergize very well with the right clicks of the Sergeant Hammer and the Vala as well. 2 very strong backline right clickers. Also very good AoE damage with the multi-shot build. Level 10 is here for them, though, and they're still just pushing hard, slowly but surely pushing into this bottom lane. And I feel like they just, Shot and Bullets, they really haven't had much opportunity to jump on anything right now. They're just getting bullied around in this bottom lane. They're doing more damage control than anything else. They haven't gotten any kills yet, at least in this bottom lane here. They were able to get that kill early on in the match where they just kind of went in there and punched each other with a knockout blow in the face. And it's, that's the experience lead is showing itself. They got level 10 well beforehand, but it looks like they're not going to utilize this level 10 too much. They're not making any aggressive rotations, just strong, slow pushes into the lanes, making sure the dragon doesn't get taken and kind of taking it from there.
Yeah, Vortex here just has the XP leads, just kind of using it to bully around, shot in the bullets. They haven't. No one's taken any mercs. That's kind of what you do when you're ahead, is you take mercs. So kind of a little bit surprised to see that not happen. Looks like they're kind of going for a DK here, but well, I don't see it happening so much with Pithix being that low in the mid with Tassadar.
So Mosh Pit is the choice for ETC. Every time I see an ETC pick Mosh Pit against Tyrande, I cringe a little bit. Do you feel like that's the best choice right now for him?
I don't think it's necessarily a bad one, to be quite honest. You just kind of wait, because there is also an Azebo ult. You can only use Tyrande stun on 1 until you get rewind much later on. And, there's always the potential that the ETC gets to Mosh Pit Tyrande herself.
That is true. Especially, I guess, with the Diablo frontliner as well. They're not doing an Apocalypse into Mosh Pit. That would just be a little too wombo combo right there, going all in with there. So, obviously, the extra DPS coming out from the Diablo. I mean, maybe a Mosh Pit into a big Fire Breath, that can be absolutely devastating if they aren't quick to jump and interrupt that Mosh Pit. Looking at the heroics all around, though, I feel like it's a Strafe over Rain of Vengeance. I feel like Rain of Vengeance has become kind of like the common pick for Walla. Do you think Strafe is the right pickup, even with like a Mosh Pit on board?
I would have went Rain of Vengeance personally, but again, like you said, it's kind of become the popular choice. It feels good against stuff like Mosh and Nazebo as well. And just to go back to the Mosh Pit, I do agree with you. Like, I think Stage Dive would have been my choice, but it isn't a terrible idea to take Mosh Pit. It's just kind of different styles and different game plans.
So Shot, he was slowly chugging over to Fan. Fan stood his ground, and now Shot is real low. Tranquility is forced out. Malfurion is very low on mana. So I feel like they definitely baited out the Tranquility there. They recognize it. Now they're retreating. They have a level 13, so slow and patient play is the name of the game for Cloud9 Vortex so far. Looking at the level 13 talents, it looks like some pretty standard stuff. However, level 13 at Muradin, is Thunderclap the usual standard? I'm sorry, Thunderstrike usually the standard build right there for him? I usually don't see that very often.
I think Stone Form is where that is, right? Yeah, Stone Form is the normal one. That's okay. Again, what's makes this game a little bit cool is that everyone can take different ones.
Shot getting completely just destroyed right there. Hunter's Mark on top of the Strafe, and his HP bar just disintegrated right there. A good Malfurion roots onto 2, followed up by Mosh Pit. This is a good turnaround from him, but I feel like it's a little bit too late because Malfurion and Tassadar are both low on health, low on mana. That was a good Mosh Pit from Base Drop, but he was a little bit late to the party, and unfortunately everyone already left. He did get paid from his agent who booked him that show, but unfortunately everyone already left, and they just get absolutely taken out. A 3 for nil exchange going the way of Cloud9 Vortex, and the first Dragonite being picked up here. 8 minutes, almost about 9 minutes, and it looks like they're going to be pushing down this mid lane. This fort is susceptible to getting taken down, and meanwhile in the bottom lane, the rest of his teammates are going to be getting this fort bottom lane. So this is going to be 2 forts, getting them close to that level 16, and continuing to perpetuate the lead that they have.
Yeah, great job by them. Just kind of a situation where they went in with Diablo, Lightning Breath, doing damage. Gregor ult just turned the fight around, and just nicely played by them. By Vortex to win that. Right now they are going on Fan. Fan is a little bit out of position here.
There's the Ancestor Healing on top of the Strafe. Ancestor Healing already on cooldown. Hunter's Mark on Shot once again, and he just gets absolutely torn apart. That's the one thing about Diablo I feel is a big weakness, is he doesn't have one of those getaways like a ETC has, or he's not intrinsically as tanky as a Stitches with Future Bile and Chew Your Food and whatnot. He did have the Amplified Healing, but unfortunately the healing just simply wasn't enough. Malfurion, again, not the best, burst healer in the game, and he just got absolutely taken apart with that Hunter's Mark on top of a Strafe. So they're down their Malfurion, they're down one of their frontliners. Level 16 is on board for Cloud9 Vortex. This is going to, go ahead and give them the Q to push down these tier 2 towers. And just, again, they're just, just not overcommitting, taking advantages one by one, and if they keep doing that, it's going to translate into an easy victory here, man.
Yeah, they made it look easy so far, for sure. There's Stoneform, so I don't know what's normally taken on 13, but yeah, maybe it is Thunderstrike. Stoneform is the
okay.
I was like, hey, where's Stoneform? But yeah, 16. Taz, I'm sure knows what to do on
He has an idea of what he's talking about. So yeah, I mean, the front line, the double warrior front line of Diablo and ETC, they had a couple opportunities. Like when Base Drop came in a little bit late to the party, it landed a great Mosh Pit, but the damage was already done. The follow-up simply wasn't there. due to the fact that Malfurion and Tassadar were completely out of gas, out of mana, out of HP. Heroics were used. But right now, this might be a good opportunity for a mosh pit. The 3-man mosh pit on top of the Breath of Fire. So they're taking a lot of damage. There's the Ravenous Spirit as well. A massive amount of AoE damage. But Malfurion gets picked apart by Bobby Hankill and the Tyron. So now there's no tranquility. Diablo is down. He'll be back to the fight in just a moment, though. ETC is the next one to get taken down. A couple too many bad notes being played in the guitar solo there, and he just gets ripped apart with this Tyron and Vala combination. Is doing so much work in here. Level 16 advantage as well. They have Siege Ogres pushing bottom. This bottom keep is more than likely dead to rights here. Shot needs to be careful. If he gets taken down, this could just be the game. Oh no, he just came back from his combat trait. Now he's down for 30 seconds as well. Cloud9 Vortex, they are on a march right now, Sean.
Yeah, you know, beautiful mosh pit, beautiful combination with the lightning breath. Problem just being there are several levels down and a talent point level down. If it wasn't for that, it would have been great, but it's kind of the reason why you see a lot of teams say, alright, can we engage? No, we just need to farm for a couple minutes till we get 16 to their like 18. But yeah, it was a very nice try for sure, and a nice, I wanted to call it an emerald win, but it's ancestral healing by Regard Keep going alive.
Yeah, and that's one of the powers of Ancestral Healing is when you have a team that's so based upon big AoE wombo combo sort of things. Not to say that they're all in on that by any means. They're not. Oh, Pythix, he might get taken out here. A good Lunar Flare. There's the Hunter's Mark. Obviously, Tassadar is that race car, but he's going to go down anyways. Unfortunately, he got Dale Earnhardt right there getting taken out. Rip. And he's going to be down for another 30 seconds. And just Cloud9 Vortex, I just feel like they're simply outmaneuvering and just, you know, that's the best way I can put it. They're outmaneuvering. Shot in the bullets right now, and it's just translating to what we see.
Yep, being 3 levels ahead.
That helps too, yes.
Pretty well so far, for sure.
So Syracuse using a Starfall just on a single Bobby Hank kill. There's the Ancestral Healing, so he's going to be taken up, topped off. He's ready to get back into this fight. Tranquility is used. Shot is getting real low. That Tranquility's not even going to keep him alive. Witch Doctor's going to be going down as well. And Cloud9 Vortex, man, they are just in cruise control right now, man. 2 going down. Their frontliner is down. The Witch Doctor, they don't have to worry about a Ravenous Spirit taking them apart. And there's another Dragonite, a 13-minute Dragonite. This is just... Shot in the bullets need to get themselves together. You know, they need to consolidate themselves, figure out what it is they need to do, because whatever they're doing is not working out for them, and they are just going to march into this bottom lane with this Dragonite and try to take the game right here, right now.
Alright, fun trivia for you. Do forts and keeps have the same amount of HP?
What'd you say?
Fun trivia time. While this game's over. Fun trivia time. Do forts and keeps have the same HP?
I feel like keeps are have a little bit more. But just due to the nature of that question, like I feel like, or maybe you're like super metagame, like next level metagaming me, and you're knowing that the easy answer was that you'd only be asking that unless it wasn't different, but you know that I know that, so therefore you're going to ask it anyways, and you're expecting me to say that.
I hear a lot of stalling. I hear a lot of stalling.
So,
friends.
You're right. It is a lot of stalling. I'm going to go with that. They have the same HP.
Keeps have around 4,500 more. It's 10,000.
Oh, I should have stayed with the final answer.
You should have. The core actually has 19,500. So, I mean, without shields, of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cloud9 Chef completely out-metaing me right there, as you could tell, in the trivia department. Cloud9 Vortex, not much to say about that game. Outmaneuvered, outplayed, outpositioned. Shot and the bullets. Looks like once they ran out of bullets in their clip, there wasn't much to take it from there, man. And just a pretty textbook play, surgical precision, going in, taking an objective, taking a small advantage with good rotation. You know, 1v4, getting the Dragon Knight, going down to the bottom lane. Easy pickings, man. Easy pickings. But we're going to see if Shot and Bullets can get themselves back off the ground, shrug it off, get their head back on their shoulders into Game 2 of this best of 3 between these two teams. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Heroes Premier League Season 2. Thank you so very much for hanging out. I am Shane Gucher. With me is the always lovely Chef, and we'll be back in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. How are you doing tonight? You feeling good? Would I like to offer you a drink? I have some drinks for you guys. If you want to hang out, maybe a little bit,
I do live kind of
relax,
close to you.
decompress. You're
Uh,
right, actually, Sheth. And best of luck to you in your endeavor. Obviously, I'll let you speak about that if you feel so desired. But we are back here, guys, for game 2 between Cloud9 Vortex and Shot and the Bullets. The draft is already underway. Shot and the Bullets banning out an Uther. And another Illidan ban from Cloud9 Vortex. They are all about the Illidon't. They do not want to go against the Illidones. And the map is Cursed Hollow. So what do you feel like Shot and the Bullets can do to switch it up a little bit to maybe get themselves into a game 3, Sean?
all right, well, this time they got Vola. It's a good start. Vortex is probably going to take Hammer again. Looks like they value it quite a bit, at least enough that they're banning Illidan. I think primarily because they want to have a strong Hammer. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Hammer Rhaegar. They seem to value Rhaegar quite highly, but nope, they went Stitches, completely different direction. It's kind of one of those things too, where Shot in the Bullets ban Stitches. So maybe Vortex thinks, all right, you don't want to play against it. Let's pick it for that.
Well, there you go. There is a Stitches being picked up from Cloud9 Vortex and the Hammer and the Vala, as you mentioned here. So Tassadar is still on the board. Obviously, Nazebo is also there to pick up. I think it could be any one of those. Do you think we're going to see another double warrior composition, or are we going to see more standard play with like a single warrior type of play coming out from him, especially on Cursed Hollow?
Hmm.
I know it's hard to answer that because it's an unknown team we don't know much about, but
I like to think they'll go one tank this game, but I don't know.
Especially
They've been practicing double tank, look like from last game, so I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised to
definitely.
see something like Diablo ETC again.
I feel like the linchpin of Cloud9 Vortex draft and the what really enabled their draft to perform as well as it did was the Tyrande pick, because a double warrior composition, I mean, any war, I don't care who you are, any warrior that doesn't have an Uther or a Rhaegar backing up with strong burst healing, a Tyron plus a Vala, the Vala doesn't even have to go auto attack build, they can go multi-shot build, her right click is still substantial, but if you have that Hunter's Mark with a Vala and a Tyron picking away at you, and you don't have that Uther Rhaegar like I talked about, you were just going to get blown up. And I felt like maybe if that Hunter's Mark wasn't there with that double warrior composition, maybe they were trying to seek out, like I said, kind of like a more defensive type of team fights where they want the team fights to go longer, extended out, kind of through attrition and wear and tear them down, and then kind of roll over them from there. And if that Tyron wasn't there, they might have not had enough damage to take the frontline warriors down as readily and as many times as they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Throne is also very good at roaming nowadays.
Yes, this
It
is
helps
very
you
true.
engage, it helps you roam. She's just great at the moment.
So the further into the draft, Shot in the Bullets picking up the Rhaegar. So I think we're going to be seeing a Malfurion here come out with Cloud9 Vortex, and I think that's also a very good synergy with Stitches. Obviously, a hook into Malfurion roots is generally a dead nerd, at least from experience shows, evidence shows that Malfurion roots plus Stitches equals dead nerds, especially if he decides to go Gorge. We'll see how the draft pans out. Right now, Shot in the Bullets don't really have any melee except with Rhaegar, but he's not a melee assassin by any means. So after the Malfurion pick, they still need a little bit more damage. Tassadar, they can pick up a Tassadar here. Who else is on board for him? Do you think we're going to see any Asmodon strats, or has Asmodon's time been played out and we're not going to see that anymore?
Asmodon can be good, but teams are kind of figuring out a little bit more of how to counter it, healing your wave, not letting him get a million waves, pressuring him. I mean, there are a lot of ways to deal with it. Crystal is definitely not an Asmodon map in general, so probably won't see it here. Never know if the teams practice it a lot here, but in general, you don't see it here.
I can see that. Once again, Cloud9 Vortex picking up that Tyrande a little bit earlier this time. They don't know what warrior Shot in the Bullets is going to pick up. I would imagine that they will pick up an ETC. I'm sure Vortex is well aware of that situation as well.
Yeah, I think Shot in the Bullets will probably just take EDC
Yeah.
Diablo here. I don't know, but that's my guess. I think if it was me personally, I would probably try and take ETC Tassadar, primarily now to deal with the Zeratul. So
Very
the
much
cool
so,
thing with
yeah.
Zeratul is Zeratul wants to VPA the healer, or in this case, it'll be the healers, potentially, and then kill whoever's out of it, right? So by having a Tassadar, it lets you see kind of where the VP is coming from, and then if he VPs the Rhaegar, you at least have a Tassadar shield to last until the Rhaegar pops out.
Yeah, I agree with you there, man. I feel like Tassadar ETC is more than likely the way to go here, especially after that Zeratul pick being brought into play here. It's going to be interesting. Zeratul is, again, he was someone we used to see picked up all the time, and now we see him picked up. When we do see him picked up, it's later on in the draft. There's the Tassadar you predicted. Are we going to see the ETC, or are we going to see the Murky? I think it's between ETC and Murky right now, Sean.
If they go ETC, I want to see Stage Dive, personally. I think Mosh Pit doesn't help engage enough. And Crystal is a great map for having Stage Dive. Like I said before, I thought Stage Dive was cool. There was one fight, too, where they had 4v4 for a long time. And then eventually the ETC walked all the way down, but then the fight was over. If ETC had Stage Dive, they couldn't have docked that fight, and I think that fight was kind of a turning fight. So,
what if Sean the Bullets go Malfurion here? Oh wait, they don't have a warrior. Never mind. For some reason, I thought they had a warrior. Just kidding. Disregard. Disregard. A little bit of a misplay here from Shane Gucher, ladies and gentlemen.
It's okay. It happens. I mean, it could work. You know, you could be just like, oh, what a mistake, but then like. Tempo Storms, they're like, all right, I wonder how Mouth would work here. And then they'll do like Silence Mouth, and it'll be the best thing you ever saw. And you're like, I created that. Like,
that would be crazy. Hey, they're taking their time with this. I mean, ETC seems like the easy go-to pickup here. Maybe they're thinking about a Diablo instead. They have been putting a lot of emphasis on that Diablo. I mean, that's what they did last game.
Diablo.
What'd you say?
Shot likes Diablo.
Yeah.
Shot in the bullets. You never know.
Okay, there it is. So they're going to pick up that Diablo over an ETC. Do you agree with that? Do you think Diablo is a little bit of a better pick here in ETC, or was the Rockin' Cow the way to go?
I mean, there's no like agree or disagree. If that's what Shot's comfortable with, if that's what they've practiced with, it's great. I just try and provide you with what I think are strong choices. And there are very few cases where I'm like, that hero just isn't going to work. You know, I think ETC would be slightly better,
right.
But once again, I don't know their team, how well they've practiced together. Like, maybe they've prepped so many things for Diablo Flip, and they communicate well, and he just loves playing Diablo. He knows all the timings. Then great, like Diablo's, it's the better choice. I'm just again saying, you know, from what I've seen, I personally like ETC more. That's what's cool. Again, everyone has their choices, preferences, and that's what makes this game interesting. It'd be boring if everyone had the same priorities as me. Same 10 heroes played every game.
That'd be great, man. That would make drafting so easy, wouldn't it?
I'd always be right. Like, look at this.
This like, hey, we're going to see an ATC. I don't know why all of a sudden I went down to Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Heroes Premier League down here. Da-da-dang, dang, 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 dang. Getting a little late here for the Shane Gucher over here on the East Coast of North America. But the draft is here. Looking at the draft here, it's I'm looking forward to this, man. We're just waiting for them to ready this game up so we can get in here. Making sure you're in here, Sean. You are. So no more ghost casting for you. No more ghost casting for you.
We're good. It's okay. In Brood War, people would cast like via radio from like cross continents. People would cast off TVs that like weren't in the venue but were connected to the venue so they could see what was going on off of like a guy with a camera phone. Like, that was still perfectly fine. 2 minutes behind, easy peasy.
No problem. Casting through Morse code. I think that would be the way to go. Just like beeps on the stream. And the like 4 Boy Eagle Scouts out there would get so like happy. They'd be like, yes, finally it's paying off. I can translate
cool
this.
Points. But I think streams, when they're streaming some tournaments that are big enough, should have some sort of way to put on, you know, words at the bottom. I don't know what it's called, captions, I guess, for anyone who, you know, has hard of hearing or stuff like that.
That's a good idea, man. You should.
Yep, they did that in StarCraft eventually, so should definitely do it here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are into the second game between Cloud9 Vortex and Shot and Bullets. Over here on the left side of your map, we'll actually introduce these teams before the gates get down. Pythix playing Witch Doctor Nazebo. I, lowercase L, I, lowercase L, I, playing the Nazebo Witch Doctor, a.k.a. Face playing Rhaegar. Base Drop, or the Bash Drop, as he is looking a little fishy right there, playing the Diablo. On the right side of your map in red, we have Zix on Malfurion, Fan on Sergeant Hammer, Syracuse once again on Tyron, a very familiar draft from those two players. Bobby Hank Hill on the Zeratul, the very well-known Smite player, and Tazza on the Stitches. I'm just kidding. Trollface, he's from League of Legends. The gates are down. The game is underway. Fan is under a lot of pressure right now. And he's going to be able to get away, hitting that boost, and he's going to get out of there cleanly. It looked like he was going to be dead to rights, but thankfully the wind was on his back, and he got out of there nice and safe.
Yep, very nice try, though. Wide Pythix and Shot in the bullets. And now they're kind of losing 1 creep top, so not a big deal. 1 creep for an attempted kill. Definitely worth it. Also, very nice by Tazza to know that pushing it would have meant 0 kills missed.
Yeah.
So this way he at least gets one, which definitely is worth it. It's something I see a lot of people do, and kind of it's one of those things I think could be improved on.
Sorry, I'm just reading chat, and it's making me laugh a little bit. So the Tassadar brothers are going at it up here in the mid lane. It's an interesting combination. I would imagine Zeratul, he's not the best static laner. I guess he can soak easily because he can just sit there and, you know, soak without having to worry about getting seen or anything like that. But obviously, usually we see him in a little bit more of an aggressive position. And down in the bottom lane is a try-v-try situation once again. And these lanes look real familiar. Healer plus Sergeant Hammer and Tyron. Pythix on the Vala Demon Hunter. And right now, I feel like, once again, this is just a... I feel like it's going to be going the way of Cloud9 Vortex just because of the Sergeant Hammer there.
They have 2 healing wards. That seems to be the thing for me.
Yeah, good call.
I'll point out it's one thing I think could be improved on a little bit. AKA Face is putting down a lot of totems that do damage to the wave. And that costs a lot of mana to put down a totem and a lightning shield on the totem.
Yeah, that does.
And,
right.
you know, I mean, it's not like getting them anywhere. They're clearing the wave, but I mean, the wave would clear anyway. And, you know, you have people who are not healed all the way to full. They could be with that mana. I don't know. Just a small nitpicky thing that I think would be, you know, better.
So, Stitches, it looks like he's not going to be going that slam build. That seems to be the go-to build here recently with the most recent patch. He's going to be going with that kind of sustained region-based build. He's picking up Chew Your Food at level 1, Amplified Healing at level 2. Is this going to be a Putrid Bile build? I think with the Diablo, I feel like maybe... we don't see Gorge that much anymore since the nerf.
It could be a Gorge. I mean, if it's going to be a Gorge, this is the comp to do it with.
Yeah, that is true.
Long hook and DP.
The good old patented Void Prison, you know, into Gorge, into Malfurion Roots, and again, we talked about that before. It's a well-proven catalyst for nerds dying. The first tribute is here. Both teams on even level. Both have level 4 talents. We're going to see if there are any heavy rotations down to this. We're going to see more static lanes. Once again, the Protoss brothers are just on each other's back. Shot's got to be careful. He's actually going to have to hearth away. He just used his fountain. So now they're going to be missing that soak in mid lane. Bobby Hankill is going to be soaking it up. Shot actually looks like, no, he feels like he's okay. He's going to sit there and try to soak as much as he can. Meanwhile, down here at the Tribute, a lot of contention going down here. It is 3v2. Sergeant Hammer, Fan, is in the backlines pushing the wave. Meanwhile, his 2 compadres, are sitting here trying to get this Tribute. And Vortex is just, you know, playing the keep-away game.
Yeah, Vortex has, you know, a nice poke comp with Hammer plus Ronda. Maybe not necessarily the best poke comp. Like, I really like Bala, personally, as the best poke, but neither side can kind of get what they want. Diablo is coming down. He's saying, alright, we want this Tribute enough to give up a wave of XP. Now Stitches pushes top, and they'll probably end up giving this up. They really don't need to contest anymore.
Van completely caught out of position. He is so low, the first aid comes online just in time. I thought he was dead to rights right there. He was 5v1 and still was able to get out of there. He used his Q effectively to disengage from the zombie wall, boosted right on out of there, and he is going to live to fight another day. Well done by them. And right now, Shot and Bullets does have a small experience advantage, but nothing insurmountable by any means. Looking at the level 7 talents for Malfurion, he went with the Elun's Grace. That's something I don't see that often. Pythix, a well-placed Lunar Flare on him. He's going to have to vault away from Fan. Fan is playing this Sergeant Hammer so well right now, man. He's getting away from good ganks. He's making good aggressive rotations and just overall just playing well, man.
Yep, even though I've always been a fan of Fan, I think he's a great player. Quite happy to see him, you know, on Vortex doing well.
So is the level 7 talent of Elun's Grace? I feel like that's something we don't see that often on Malfurion. It's definitely a strong talent. It, you know, gives him extra range for his roots, gives him extra range for, you know, the big DPS machine gun that is Moonfire. Pythic's got to be careful. Hunter Marks is on top of him, and once again, he's a man. He doesn't care. He's going to sit in the front line with the Sergeant Hammer knocking away at him, and now he's going to back up. He's going to lick his wounds, get back into this fight, and this is going to enable Cloud9 Vortex to push real hard into this bottom lane.
Yep. Nicely done. Elun's Grace is... I don't know, it's interesting. It's a trade for a mule or, you know, a couple other things, like extra healing on Q for that extra range. Just really helps if you want to stack something like stun or roots. And, you know, with the Tyrande, pretty good idea. You can definitely block something like this choke here, where the wall is, quite easily with it.
Fan once again caught in a zombie wall, and he's going to casually walk out of it. Is this going to be his time to go down? There's Tranquility, barely keeping alive. Finally, The fan gets taken out. This is a 4v3 situation, but the turnaround is here from Cloud9 Vortex. Bobby Hankill sweeping in from the north down to the south. AK Face is definitely out of position. Barcode's very low, but the Tassadar shield is going to keep him up. So the level 10 right there, actually not doing much with it. Fan went down. They weren't able to secure any kills with it. The Tribute is here in the top lane. Diablo versus Stitches. That's a wet noodle fight if I ever saw one. These guys are just going to go back and forth, back and forth. Level 10 online now for both teams. There's the Rain of Vengeance. No force wall today, Sean. No force wall today.
Diablo just kind of going to give it up. Stitches like, all right, if you're going to let me take it, I will. On APOC by base drop, also with Pithix taking Rain of Vengeance, trying to stack that and do some damage. It is a bio game, so we won't be seeing quite any Gorge, but that's okay.
So 1-to-1 tributes right now, guys. Tributes are even. Experience is damn near even as well. Not a single mercenary camp being taken here. Definitely a different playstyle. A Void Prison on to Pithix. The Apocalypse being used, but not much follow-up. Syracuse is getting wailed on by a shot, but he's going to lay down a Lunar Flare. That's going to get him away to safety in no time flat. So a lot of heroics being used for shot in the bullets, and not much coming out of it, though. Ancestral Healing and Ravenous Spirit are still on the board for him. Meanwhile, on top lane here, Stitches is doing the best he can at pushing. He's doing a pretty damn good job, especially considering the fact that he's not going that slam build for the extra damage. And finally, we're seeing some teams fall back to the mercenary camps and picking those up here at the 7-minute mark. Cloud9 Vortex picking up the Siege Ogre camp, and there is the next tribute for them to contend over. Pretty good position right there for any team that needs to get there first, because there's so many choke points right there with this tribute.
Yep, well said. Right here, definitely Vortex kind of having the advantage. You know, they've won the last fight. They've gotten a couple free, or at least one free tribute top. They're trying to take the next one. Shot is doing a nice job of blocking it. He also did use up his healing ward. He's a Tassadar though, so he escapes just fine.
Yep, he's going to race card out of there, man. So what heroics are online right now? We do have Future Bile from the Stitches, as expected, with the build that he was going right there. He got the Tenderizer Amplified Healing, so he definitely has a lot of sustainability in these team fights. Neither of these teams want to commit too hard, but a beautiful hook onto Pithix. A good Ancestral Healing is going to completely negate that initiation. There is a Starfall. They're fighting on top of it. They got to be careful. Bobby Hankill is in the thick of it, but they are focusing down base drop. He is going to be going down here. It took him a little bit longer than they wanted to, but he's going to go down nonetheless. A Roots almost lands onto 4 of them, but unfortunately it's a little bit off the mark. Vala is going to get taken out, and this is just easy pickings right now for Cloud9 Vortex. Barcode is going to go down. Shot's going to go down as well, and that's a full handful going the way of Cloud9 Vortex. They're going to be able to get this tribute, fall back to mercenary camps, pick up a boss, and cruise easily into a strong big game here.
Yeah, beautifully done. They just mouth pressed R, healed through all that damage. Their comp was prepared and ready. I mean, also we pressed other buttons, but just saying, like, they knew it was coming, they're prepared, they knew how to deal with it, and you know, they dealt with it just fine.
And the whole entire time, this bottom lane was pushed out by these Siege Ogres. They got the Tier 1 towers in bottom lane. Now they're wailing away on this fort. So this fort's going to take a substantial amount of damage. The boss is going to be pushing out top lane. So map control definitely swinging the way of Cloud9 Vortex right now. And they're continuing to put the pressure on. Now the Bruisers are going to be down in the mid lane. And it looks like that Cloud9 Vortex is looking to make an aggressive rotation here. I was looking at the mini-map, and they all were pointing down to the boss of Shot and Bullets. And I think they might be looking for an aggressive pickoff here on Shot and Bullets boss right here, Sean.
All right, I think it's almost a little bit more of checking. I don't think they'll try and do it. They may. Well, they are.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the points in time where maybe they throw the game. To be honest, usually you need something to, you know, before you can take this. Like, have someone show top. Right here, they are zoning them offline and getting the damage done.
I was going to say, I knew that Bobby Hankill had the Void Prison up, and he was in a position, he was pretty much scouting out for his team with that Void Prison, and I feel like that's the cue they had. That's probably why they felt pretty confident coming into this team fight, knowing that they had that Void Prison to help secure the boss. The Ancestral Healing barely gets off on time, already used. The Apocalypse is there, but I feel like it was a defensive Apocalypse. Not much follow-up quite yet. There's a Rain of Vengeance, and there's the Ravenous Spirit that was just almost did next to nothing. Interrupted immediately. Barcode is just going to get taken apart, and once again, a quick 1-2 punch just taken out the entirety of Shot and Bullets. The only one that's going to be able to get away here is Shot because he's a Tassadar. A good Lunar Flare, though, is going to secure the kill onto him. And Cloud9 Vortex is they're going to get themselves a Curse. This is going to enable them to push at bottom. They already have that boss push in bottom, so these tier towers are absolutely dead to rights. This keep is absolutely susceptible to getting taken down as well.
Yeah, just like you said. They had the chance to go in before the boss was dead, but then the boss died, and then, you know, fighting 2 levels down with no real advantage. And of course, very nicely played by everyone on Vortex, managing to just play their comp, get right stuns. Nice stun at the end by Syracuse to pick off Tash the at the end. And, good try, of course, by, I don't know why wanting to find a Heroes hype, but...
They were Heroes hype at one point in time. Base drop is going to get hooked. A Hunter's Mark Lunar Flare. He gets absolutely destroyed. He is going to resurrect. He is a Diablo, so he is back once again. We don't really see any diebacks coming out of here, though. Bobby Hank Kill does have the important double Singularity Spike and Wormhole as well. Another beautiful combination that narrowly was dodged by the Dimensional Shift of shot right there. He's going to have to back up. Base drop is going to get blown up once again. I'm sorry about my GPU, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, not only is base drop getting taken out, so is my GPU. These lunar players are on mark. Rhaegar is going to get taken out. Shot once again, having to retreat. And Cloud9 Vortex is just domineering themselves on top of this fort. They are going to be taking this match right here. This best of 3, an easy 2-0 victory for Cloud9 Vortex.
GG, well played.
So, I mean, the new team of Shot and Bullets, unfortunately, getting taken out by the veteran, well-experienced Salt and Pepper team of Cloud9 Vortex. Well-deserved win for them right there. And they're going to be moving on. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight's broadcast. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a summary. The first match that we had was Synapse versus Murloc. Murloc Inks took that 2-0. The second match was APM versus FKC, or KFC, as the chat was calling them, and will probably from here on out always be known henceforth as KFC. APM took that in rather convincing manner as well, and then Cloud9 Vortex, you believe it, 2-0 in a convincing manner over Shot and the Bullets. So right now, the well-experienced teams, the well-known teams, are taking the easy 2-0s right now. Hoping to
nice to see new blood, though. Shot and the Bullets is a relatively new team. And they did pretty well against a very established team in Vortex. I guess actually it's relatively new with the roster they have.
Yeah.
But still.
So we're going to look into the next broadcast coming out here, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Day 2 of North America. And there are some games lined up for that. It's going to be Wednesday the 4th right here on this channel at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, EST. And that's going to be a lot of good games. Look at these games right here, Sean. Cloud9 Maelstrom versus Happy Fairy Dragons. Happy Fairy Dragons, you might not know who they are, but they actually took out in the most recent ESL this Sunday, which I casted a majority of with Sean Forecourt Jester. Happy Fairy Dragons actually made it all the way to the finals and got knocked out by Barrel Boys. So they knocked down EG. They took out other couple well teams, going up the strongest team right now. They won Titan Arena, Cloud9 Maelstrom. Then we have ESV Wildfire versus Beyond Reason. And then the big one I'm looking forward to is Barrel Boys versus Tempo Storm. Barrel Boys is definitely a big up-and-coming team. They haven't really been able to get themselves on that tier 1. They haven't taken down the Cloud9 Maelstrom or Tempo Storm. They have Barrel Boys have had a couple times. They lost to Tempo Storm in a Kings of the Storm a couple weeks ago in a best of 3, 2-1. That was very impressive play by them. They almost did win in Game 3, if I recall correctly. And I'm hoping to see Barrel Boys maybe come back with a vengeance and finally take down one of those top-level teams that we've been wanting to see them do for such a long time.
Yep. True.
That's what can you do, man? It's gonna be Temple Storm Barrel Boys, Cloud9 Maelstrom versus a new and upcoming team, Happy Fairy Dragons, guys. So make sure you don't miss out on that. As always, thank you so much for your support, ladies and gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of everyone here at Heroes Premier League. Thank you for tuning into us, supporting Heroes of the Storm, supporting esports. And once again, thank you to our sponsors as well. You better believe it. Balls Guarana, for all you old school esports gamers out there. Before there was Red Bull, before there was Monster, it was Balls. Am I right, Chef? Do you remember those times?
Good old times.
Good old times, man. You bring in your CRT monitor to the 1.6 lanes, drinking yourself a lot of balls, and having a good old time back in the early 2000s. And no scope as well. Thank you to our sponsors for helping us bring in the prize pool and helping us out with this tournament. Chef, it was an absolute pleasure having you cast with you, man, and I hope we get to cast again in the future.
Yeah, thanks for asking me to be here. It was a lot of fun. Good games. Ultimately, a great time. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is tonight's broadcast. As I said, if you have any questions, anything like that, go ahead and head down to the website. It's just nexuschamp.com/HPL. Make sure you check out your casters on the typical media outlets that you would expect. You can get it down right there in the interface. I am at Shane Gucher on Twitter. Obviously, Sheth is at Cloud9 Sheth as well. So go ahead and give him his support. Tell you how much you love him. He's a great man. He deserves more than what he has. Give him what he deserves, guys. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Until next time, take care.